Welcome back, everyone. Today your flipped lecture will be about the Hebrews, or the people who become known as the Jews. So you need to make sure you've got your note-taking sheet out that is titled Hebrews, Origins of Judaism. Pause the video until you have taken that out and are ready to write. Okay, the story of the Hebrews starts with a guy named Abraham who was born in the city of Ur that was located in Sumer, or later known as Babylon. And he is important because he's going to form a covenant or make a promise with God. So the agreement is, if Abraham follows all of God's directions, then God will bless Abraham and his descendants, or the people who are related to him, forever. And the name in Hebrew for this God is Yahweh. In English we usually just say God. So the story with Abraham is that he is going to follow God's directions and take his family from Ur into a place known as Canaan, which God described as the land of milk and honey. It is located between the Jordan River and the Mediterranean Sea. Right here. So he starts here, he follows God's directions, he follows these rivers up, he ends up down here, and God's promise to Abraham was that if he followed his direction, that the Hebrew people would never cross the Jordan River again, and to this day they haven't. This is where the Hebrew people mostly live today. So Abraham is faithful to God, and he grows to be 100 years old, and the one thing he really wanted and that he always asked God for was a son. So when he's 100 years old, he has a son named Isaac. And one day, God is going to put him to the test to see how devoted he is to God. He is going to tell him, I want you to take Isaac up onto the top of the mountain where you have an altar, and I want you to sacrifice Isaac to me instead of your normal sacrifice, which would be a baby lamb. So he is going to take Isaac up to the mountaintop. As you can see in this painting here, he's going to actually have Isaac prepared to be his sacrifice, and then he's going to kill him and burn it. And at the last minute, when he actually has the knife in the air, an angel comes and tells him, stop, God is pleased with you, you've followed all of his directions, and you do not have to actually sacrifice Isaac. And right then, this lamb, which you can see in the picture, is going to walk up, and the angel tells him, take this lamb and sacrifice the lamb instead. So that shows Abraham's devotion to God, and God is pleased with him, and he's going to bless all of his children and his children's children, and keep on like that. So who are these Hebrews that come from Abraham? They speak the Hebrew language, eventually. They are going to be, one of our vocabulary words, nomads, which means they wander around. They are going to make their money and living off of being shepherds. They raise sheep and goats. That is called pastoralism, because you have your animals out in a pasture instead of planting food. Eventually, the Hebrews are going to migrate or move. This is another one of your vocabulary words, migrate, to a place called Egypt, where the Pharaoh or king of Egypt is going to make them slaves. And they are going to build the most famous thing in Egypt, the pyramids. Eventually, Moses is going to be led by God to lead a rebellion of the Egyptian slaves, and he is going to lead them out of slavery. You might have seen the movie Prince of Egypt, and that's a story of this time. It's called the Exodus. It's also in the book in the Bible called the Exodus. So for 40 years, Moses is going to be leading the Hebrews around in the Sinai Desert, which is the desert between Canaan, or Israel, and Egypt. And on one of these days, God tells him, go up on the mountain and meet with me and pray. And while he is up there, he's going to receive something called the Ten Commandments, that you can see right here on these two tablets. or 10 rules. So they're 10 rules of living that God wants the Hebrew people to follow in exchange for being the chosen people that he takes care of. So the most famous of these are: you shouldn't steal, you shouldn't lie, you should not commit adultery or cheat on your wife or husband. And eventually, we are going to have one of Abraham's descendants named Saul. After Moses leads them out of slavery, he will become the first king of Israel. And after that, we have the most famous, most powerful king of Israel, David. He's going to make Jerusalem the capital, as it is today in Egypt. And Solomon, the king after David, is going to build this. It's the temple, the Jewish temple. And this is going to be the most powerful that Israel is in history. And like we're going to learn about in many different countries through World History 1 and World History 2, Solomon, who's this great, amazing king, is going to die. And after he dies, Israel's going to split into 12 tribes. So there's 12 different rulers. So instead of one big, powerful country, there's 12 small countries. We have 10. They're going to be in the north. They're going to call themselves Israel, and eventually they're going to break up and not exist anymore. And then in the south, we'll have 2 tribes that are called Judah. That is why these people end up becoming known as Jewish. So today, all of this is Israel. This purple part is Judah. This green part is Israel. And eventually this is going to be the home of the Hebrew people. These other 10 tribes are going to be sent to wander around other places before eventually returning. So what is Judaism? What do the Hebrews believe? They believe in one God. That is monotheism. That's one of our vocabulary words. They believe that because of the covenant with God and Abraham, they are God's chosen people. And they believe in following the 10 Commandments to make sure they are living moral or correct lives. Their holy book is called the Torah. It is also the first 5 books of the Christian Bible. And the Torah is simply the laws that God gives to Abraham and Moses and other people, as well as the history of the Jewish people. So if you want to read the history, you can go to the Bible and read these books. One of them is Exodus. And the Torah is actually scrolls. So if you're looking at the Bible, the book, the Bible, it's not technically the Torah. These scrolls are, but it's the same words. So we will study this around December or January, but eventually the Hebrew people are taken over by the Roman Empire. They're going to destroy the temple, and the Jewish people are going to be sent around the world, mostly into different parts of Europe and the Middle East. And that is called the diaspora. So we have these Jewish people, a Hebrew nation, but they're not all living together in one place. Next time we're going to talk about the Phoenicians. If you have any questions about this lecture, or particularly what this word diaspora means, ask me, and make sure that you have everything on your note-taking sheet filled out. If not, you should go back through this video and make sure you have all your blanks filled in.